Couple of years ago, a Turkish scientist called Ekrem Aydener came up with a new theory for the creation of the universe called the chaotic universe theory. Aydener states the presence of the mutual interactions between components or universe may have chaotic dynamics. Rather than the Big Bang theory, this theory states that the universe doesn't appear from one point. Conversely, it was the result of many chaoses. It was just another theory published in another journal, did not become really popular, but then, a couple of years back, on May 7th around 11:30 a.m., suddenly the world became silent, and due to an unknown reason, everybody fell asleep. And when they wake up, some people were on the passenger seat, some of them were lying on their bathroom floor, but only one thing was common, that they all didn't understand what was going on. Everything seemed normal until they checked their phones, and it was May 8, 11:30 a.m. When the news came that a couple of airplanes fell, everybody understood that the whole world fell asleep for 24 hours. Not only people fell asleep, but animals, plants, even the energy itself stopped, which meant that the whole life on Earth fell asleep. What was interesting was it was summer in Greece on May 7th, and now people woke up to a snowy day. It was 11:30 a.m. in the morning in France, but it was dark outside. So a picture came from NASA a couple of hours later, and the whole world was silent again, because they were speechless to say what just happened. Because everyone thought they woke up where they fell asleep, right? What happened was not continents, not countries, but more than 10,000 cities all around the world separated from their borders and changed places around the world to form the 7 continents and 196 countries again. For example, Berlin moved to Seoul, Seoul moved to Moscow, Moscow moved to Paris, Paris moved to Istanbul, and so on and so forth. The government of the countries immediately said it doesn't matter where the cities of its country are located right now. It is still gonna be under the control of its own government. No one opposed it at first because everything was already complicated and the problems were inevitable. You see, now countries who fought in wars or have problems with each other from the past became neighbors. In some places, a couple of months later, some crowds started to gather up, stating that they wanted to get their revenge back. So people were ready to grab their guns and knives and attack to each other. However, it did not get that big, because they didn't know it was going to change again. People were in their homes at a foreign country. The crisis kept continuing for 8 more months, and people clinging more and more to their countries and to their identities. Citizens of poorer cities would like to travel to the rich cities to get education, find jobs, and to be honest, sometimes just to rob them. It was getting more and more chaotic with rising nationalism, racism, discrimination. But, however, days flew by and it was May 7th again. People woke up with knives and guns in their hands, but they didn't know who the people they were looking at this time. First year's chaos started to fade away and people started to adapt. Companies were managing their branches from their headquarters, and most importantly, people actually started to travel. New Zealand was next to Istanbul, which was normally 24 hours by plane, but now it was just an hour away. People started to find jobs in other cities, fell in love with people they would never have a chance to meet. Friendship started and everyone started to learn the culture of the cities they were surrounded by. However, some countries didn't accept their current situation and refused to communicate with the surrounding cities, and even built walls, and still protests were going on. Once people started to marry from different races, cultures, religions, the adaptation process became easier. However, adaptation didn't mean they wanted to lose their true identity. The cultural things they did with their families, that popular pop song everyone knows, the memes that were created, and the old grandma recipe were still in people's hearts. Adaptation was getting faster, but the problem was just as you were getting adapting, it was changing. Now babies were born in different places, and the chaos babies were growing up. They were keeping their cultural background and were creating their own. Traveling and buying houses in cities close by was on demand, education became universal and free, and chaos babies had greater minds with greater diversity. At the end of every year, one thing was obvious. No one knew what part of the world they were gonna be in the upcoming year. It's like us who were born before the first May 7th didn't choose where we were going to born. to which parents, religion, and race. Judging someone is inevitable. Of course, you don't have to support any idea, but you have to respect it. On the other hand, judging someone by something that they didn't choose doesn't make sense. So the crash of the chaoses, like the universe itself, created something great. Maybe there was really a hope in humanity. But May 7th was still 6 months away, and you will never know what will happen next year.